This is going to be my first look at most of this. I have purposely been avoiding most of the interviews and stuff because I do want as much information to be discovered by myself as I can. But listen, you can't drop all the ascendancies and not expect me to look. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So let's go. Let's go through these. I have looked at this one all the way through. Look, this looked cracked. Maybe it's not. Maybe this is just like, maybe this is just like normal and baseline and like PoE2 terms. But this looks crazy to me. Okay, let's just go through the list of all 12 of these. Also, if you're new here, hi, my name's ItsAdiar. I've been playing Path of Exile since the open beta sometime in the summer of, I think it was like 2013, something like that. I've been playing this game longer than 2 out of 3 of my kids have been alive. So yeah, welcome on in. Let's get into it. Also, you're rocking with the vibe, you know, there's a button down there. You can like, you can sub, you can comment your favorite aspect. You can comment your favorite ascendancy, or you can say nothing at all. That's up to you. Let's go. All right. So the skill number 1, life remnants, very simple. You get a base life cost on your skills. We don't really need to go much into that. We'll go ahead and read what the life remnant skill actually says though. Drink the blood of your enemies to restore your life. While active, enemies you kill have a chance to spawn a life remnant, and critically hitting a target spawns a life remnant every few seconds. Picking up a life remnant will grant you life, which can overflow maximum life. The overflow mechanic seems really, really interesting to me. I do like that it's more than just making you have a life cost. You are getting some recovery in there as well. Without that, this might have been rough, but hey, there we go. Right into number 2, 10% of spell damage leads to life. Holy. Like I don't know the accessibility of Leech in Path of Exile 2 compared to PoE 1, but getting just straight up spell leech like that is nutty. Like that seems really, really, really good. Especially, I mean, this game is going to be harder, it seems. Even on pinnacle bosses, it's been confirmed that you will only have 1 life. And if you die, you're out of there. So getting things like built-in defenses and built-in leech is just, these are not things, even in softcore, that we're going to be skipping on, but like they're going to be necessary. Number 3, very, very, your curses are infinite, sure, whatever. Number 4, gain 10% of damage as extra physical damage. Interesting. Very much not a PoE 1 type of thing. Normally that would be like gain some of your physical as something. But this is just gain 10% of all of your damage as extra physical, which is kind of cool. I like that we're like changing up the damage pools in a way like that. Let's see. And an elemental damage can contribute to your bleeding. Very interesting. Cool. So that means that you can use any element, you can use whatever element skill you want on your bleed builds, and then you'll also be getting extra damage from that skill as physical damage. So pretty cool. Let's see. Gore Spike, 1% crit damage per 40 life. I'm curious to see how much life you're going to be getting, because that could be pretty cool. Like if you've got 4,000 life, that's 100% crit damage from an ascendancy point. That sounds pretty good. And I'm guessing I'm hoping you can get much higher life totals than that. Like imagine you could get like 10,000 life on this character and you're getting like 250 crit damage from that. Like that could be wild. Base critical hit chance for spells is 15% baseline. This is interesting to me. I don't know in any of the specifics on the non-elemental spells, but I do know baseline crit damage, the crit chance ratings they seem to be based on the element that the skill is. So like, I think like the lowest is 7% for fire spells. And I believe the highest is 13 or 14% for cold spells. So that's kind of interesting. If you're playing a cold spell, especially, that's not something you're gonna be taking, but like that for the fire spells, that's like more than double your base. That's pretty interesting to me. Let's see. Grasping wounds, 25% of life loss from hits is prevented. Then that much, bro. That's built into your ascendancy. That's so nice. This is looking like a very, very, I mean, it just seems very well rounded. You've got your you've got your life leech, you've got your damage reduction, you've got your crit chance and your crit damage, and it all, wow, okay. And then 8, even 8 is like, holy, like I want 6 of these points right now. You can only get 4 as far as I'm aware, but I want 6 of these points. And I think if you can make me want more than the 4 that I can get, you've done good on the Ascendancy. That's just my opinion. 8, gain energy shield from equipped body armor as extra maximum life. That is going, that, I wonder how much energy shield we're actually going to have on gear. I've not been looking at like the gear rolls or anything like that. That could be cracked. Next up. All right, so this one, when they announced this one, I was not immediately impressed by what I saw. So let's go through this and let's just take a look. Again, it's hard to be impressed when you don't know the full context of things. So this could be so much better than I think it is off the rip. Let's see. All right, number 1, Mana Leech is instant. Okay, sure. Let's see, consuming questions. You cannot recharge your energy shield. Mana Leech effects also recover energy shield. Okay. Interesting. So we've got Mana Leech, we've got Mana and Energy Shield Leech with going with 1 and 2, but we don't get recharge anymore, which could be, I don't know about that one. That could be a double-edged sword for sure. Like the no recharge, it could be very, very dangerous potentially. Let's see. Chayula's gift, 10 to maximum chaos resistance. Chaos resistance is doubled. I wonder, like plus 10 to a resistance is just generically good in ARPG. Windows update, go away, bro. I mean, there's not much there's really not much to say for these first 3. Reality rending, this is from the, I'm sorry, it's like 3 in the morning, so I may get some information incorrect here. But isn't that just the node? That's the node from oh, I'm blanking on the Shadow Ascendancy. Y'all know what I mean. But this is just a node from PoE1 that was pulled into PoE2, right? Gain, yeah. Damage with its hits is chaos damage, yeah. 5 gives you a skill called Into the Breach. Creates a breach around you, allowing you to see flames of Chayula. You are considered to be inside of a breach while this skill is active. That could be very interesting. That has very, very interesting connotations. Depending on what the breach tree looks like specifically, that could be really, really cool. Especially if there's anything in there that like gives you bonuses or buffs or you know, any kind. If there's anything in the breach tree that affects you, the player, or affects enemies that are not breach specific enemies, that's going to be really cool. Let's see. And then you get different bonuses based on what the flames you collect are. Red flames, leech 7%. I can't see what that says. That's not good. Well, why is this also? Why is that good? That's so stupid. Okay. Well, whatever. You leech 7% of something with the red ones. Blue ones, you leech 7% of mana to you. Purple, provide a stacking buff, granting 10% of damage as chaos for 5 seconds. Stacking up to 10 times. I'm curious if that resets or if those stacks are individually timed, because if so, if you can keep that up, stacking that up to 10 for 70% of damage as chaos damage could be pretty cool. Let's see. Lucid Dreaming just doubles these bonuses, which that could potentially be a shit ton of damage if you can keep that purple buff up. A shit ton of leech too. Let's see. And then I saw this. This is one of those things I'm gonna have to see in game. Remove all spirit, base maximum darkness is 100. For each life or energy shield lost to damage, reserve 1 darkness instead of possible. Darkness reservation lasts for 10 seconds. Okay. So it looks like you're using, it looks like this turns your spirit into both a way for you to reserve auras while also giving you a bit of a damage buffer. And then the thing is though, that reservation lasts for a long time. We have an effect similar to this already on PoE1, and it's nowhere near 10 seconds. And sometimes if you're not, it could be rough sometimes. You get into a bad spot and you're like, all right, I'm dodging. Can we get my life back? Can I get my life back? Okay. Interesting though. Let's see. You're getting damage for every 20 unreserved darkness. I don't know how much of a fan of that I am. Mainly because of 7. You have to take 7 to get to 8. Which means as you're taking damage, as you take damage, you lose damage. I don't know how much I like that in particular. That seems like if I'm taking damage, I want to be doing more damage, not reducing the damage, because if I'm taking damage, that means the thing is not dead, and I don't want my damage going down. So I don't know. I am not. I'm reserving judgment here. I very much could just be sleeping on this and just my lack of understanding of the Path of Exile 2 game. I don't know, man. This seems This one seems okay. So this one looks extremely strong, and I also could care so much. I don't think I could care less about this, because it's just, I don't know, man. Like when we saw it in action, it looked so cool, but now I'm looking at it, I'm just kind of like, Let's just run through it real quick. Skills have 33% chance not to consume a cooldown. Sure. Gives you time snap, reset your other skill cooldowns. Sure. Releases a large wave that stops time from affected areas. Duration is lower the more times the enemy has been stopped. Sure. Pass when we leave after images. We've already seen and been told about all of these. Number 5. Every 12 seconds, gain 50% more cast speed for 4 seconds. Interesting. So that's a 33% uptime buff for 50% more cast speed. Sure. Enemies in your presence are slowed by 20%. That's pretty nice. That if that affects bosses if that doesn't have like a reduced effect on bosses, that's going to be very, very strong. 30% of damage taken. You get 30%. You get 30% recoup here. Nice. Recoup effects instead occur over 4 seconds. So what is the recoup timer baseline going to be in Path of Exile 2? Again, like this seems, don't get me wrong, this seems like it will be strong. Nothing about this at all excites me after having seen the full tree, you know? When I saw it on the preview, I was like, oh my God, we got a JoJo stand, boys. Let's go. And now I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen, I just, I don't know. That's me. All right, first Ranger Ascendancy. 30% chance that if you would gain frenzy charges, you instead gain up to your maximum. Sure, that's a very nice that's a very nice 1-pointer right there. Let's see. Benefits from consuming frenzy charges for your skills have a 50% chance to be doubled. I don't know what the frenzy charge consumption benefits are, but if they're any good, this is going to be also pretty wild. This I have been questioning so much. We saw this during the early access reveal, and the only thing that like is sticking out to me is that there is an accuracy penalty at distance. That is, something about that just in my soul, I don't like the implications that might have. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Let's see. Projectiles deal 20% more hit damage to targets in the first 3.5 meters of their movement. Sure, point blank. Sure. So yeah. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. So we got point blank and far shot. Let's see. Extra projectile, additional mark, 3% less damage taken per tailwind. Gain tailwind. Tailwind seems I don't know. I mean, tailwind does give you, it's giving you 1%. I don't know. Tailwind does not seem very interesting. I mean, 30% less damage and you're getting evasion rating and you're getting like movement speed. Maybe realistically, do y'all think you would take this version of Tailwind right here? Because I don't personally. Again, this is all pre getting into the EA. Maybe 10% move speed is a big deal here. You know, maybe we need that 30% up to 30% less damage taken on a hit to be able to survive on an evasion build. But right now, that's just like all of this is just stock standard. I'm a ranger. I'm gonna shoot some bows shit, and I like it. This though, I don't know about this. We'll see. All right, Big Daddy Mercenary number 1, Gemling Legionnaire. All right, so this is one of the two classes I've been eyeballing real hard. The other one actually being the monk, surprisingly, with how I feel about that Chayula tree. I just the staff, the spear gameplay just looks so good, right? It looks good. But the merc, 10% quality of all skills, sure. +1 to all skills, sure. I like both of those. Give me more things, give me more damage. Right. Easy come, easy go. Let's see. Advanced Thaumaturgy, 30% less cost of active skills. Skill gems have 30% more attribute requirements. I don't know how high the attribute requirements are going to scale. Some of the attribute requirements on the items for like level 90 items we saw were pretty up there though. So we'll see how that turns out. Grants 3 additional skill slots. I'm sorry. Where do they go? How do I keybind that? And can they have supports? Because if we get 3 more skills with full supports, holy shit, that could be insane. That could be like the potential implications of that are insane, especially because when you look at number 5, it says you can use 2 copies of the same support and different skills, which means you can double dip on your supports, which makes those extra 3 skill slots even that more valuable. Holy shit. I am so fucking hyped for this Ascendancy. I boys, listen, I can almost guarantee you right here and now, this is what I'm playing first. It is, yes. Holy, like that other Ascendancy is gonna have to blow me the actual away for me to not just beeline for a Gemling Legionnaire, just straight up. And then the rest of this, like the rest of this isn't even all that crazy. It's just like max res and attribute stuff, and then like bonuses for your stats. It's nothing crazy there, but just 4 and 5, the potential for 4 and 5 alone have got me, bro. You ever seen the Washington Monument? Yeah. This was the surprising one to me. I said I had 2 classes. This could be when I saw that demon transformation, bro. Did you not see the motherfucking demon transformation on the EA? Because I did. Bro, again, Washington motherfucking Monument. This is, oh, okay. Like that right there had me like, but let's see what we got. Let's see, 20% of cold damage taking us fire. Interesting. So we've got some defensive damage shifting. That's interesting. As the first skill, even. Well, not the first that you have to take, and you know, start, you go that way. But still, interesting. Let's see. Baydot's Gaze reserves 25% of life, +1 maximum mana per 6 maximum life. Okay. Baydot's Will reserves 25% of life, +1 maximum spirit per 25 life. Okay. And then we have one for Energy Shield as well. Reserve 25% of life, +1 max Energy Shield per 8 maximum life. Okay. Interesting. But we're going to need to see some more to see how that really matters. 5 is your demon form. Shapeshift into a demon, vastly boosting the power of your spells. You gain Demon Flame every second you remain in demon form, causing your life to be lost at an ever-increasing rate. Revert to human form if you reach 1 life. Use a skill that isn't a spell, or reactivate this skill. Okay. I don't know. We don't know what the max Demon Flame is right now based off of that, but number 6 takes it up to 10. I'm guessing it's 5. Don't know. Let's see. Pyromaniac Pact. They did talk about this one in the early access. maximum mana is replaced by maximum Infernal Flame, right? Gain Infernal Flame instead of spending mana for skill costs. Take maximum life and energy shield as fire damage when Infernal Flame reaches maximum. Lose all Infernal Flame on reaching maximum Infernal Flame. 10% of Infernal Flame lost per second if none was gained in the past 2 seconds. I'm going to continue just so we can get into the other Infernal Flame things to get a better grasp on all of this. While not on low Infernal Flame, all damage from you and allies in your presence contributes to ignite chance and magnitude. Ooh, okay. Let's see. While on high Infernal Flame, you and allies in your presence gain 20% of damage as fire damage. Interesting. So you can go with a less spammy build for ignite chance and magnitude, or you can go for a higher spammy build for like more spellcast and pushing your Infernal Flame higher and just get a straight up 20% damage buff. Interesting. Okay. And then last but not least, we've got Loyal Hellhound, which grants you the Summon Infernal Hellhound. 20% of damage from hits is taken from your Hellhound's life before you. That is crazy strong. We've got a lot of defensiveness baked into this Ascendancy. You've got the damage transfer. You've got the damage conversion on the first skill. You've got the 20% here for the Hellhound. Let's see. And then summons a reviving Infernal Hound, which ignites enemies near it. The Hound takes a portion of damage from hits for you. Let's see. Oh, and then there's one more. Grinning Immolation. Become ignited when you deal a critical hit, taking 15% of your life and energy shield as fire damage per second. 30% more critical damage bonus. Huh. 15% of your life and energy shield per second. 30%. Is this okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on. The cat wants some attention. I apologize. One moment. Baby, listen, hey, I'm trying to do a video here. You're just gonna stay there? Is that what you're gonna do? Yeah. Okay. Well, you stay there. I kind of need this hand though, so yeah, we'll just do it that way. Is that good for you? Okay. Pause. Okay, what are we doing here? Okay. Maybe not. This is not working for me. I'm sorry. You gotta have to get down. No, you have to get down. Sorry. Can't do it. Claws. Anyway, my bad. So this is kind of an RF style ability that gives you 30% more crit damage. And then where isn't it stated? Didn't we get like information from the devs that critical strikes work with Ignite in PoE2? Because holy, okay. Very, very interesting here. Also, for anybody that's a bit newer to this, you're not actually going to be taking 50% of your life and energy shield because that's going to get reduced by your resistances. So there's that to consider. This is a very interesting, like, it feels like a combination of like a summoner, a chieftain, and maybe even a little bit of a mix in there of a Templar ascendancy as well. Very curious to see how this one plays out. Curious to see how the Ignite plays out. Man, I'm really curious to see this one. All right, now we've got the other monk. That's not Chayula. Lead me through grace. Gain 1 spirit for every 6 energy shield on your equipped body armor. Gain 1 spirit for every 15 evasion on your equipped body armor. Cannot gain spirit from equipment. We just simply cannot quantify this until we get in game and see the gear and see how much of these things are on the gear. And protect me from harm. Number 2. Evasion rating also grants physical damage reduction. Holy shit. It does what the fuck did you say? Holy, what? Yes, I see the 40% less evasion. I don't give a shit. Physical damage has been the bane of fuck. Wow. That we don't know what the ratio is going to be for the DR here, but that could be fucking insane. Holy shit. Like physical damage for evasion builds is such a goddamn problem. More like 9 times out of 10. Because it's like without armor and without like just stacking a life pool, physical damage will just like truck you in PoE 1. That's so interesting to me. Okay. Faith is a choice. Number 3. Grants meditate. Channels to recharge energy shield. Cannot overcharge your energy shield. Oh, excuse me. Can overcharge your energy shield up to double its normal maximum. Channeling ends when you take damage or your energy shield is double its normal maximum. This skill cannot be used if your energy shield is already double its normal maximum or you have no maximum energy shield. Interesting. Now here's the one thing I don't know about the overcharge and the overflow. Does it, like, once you get it to that point, do you have to lose it or does it deplete over time? Don't know. Interesting. Let's see. I am the Blizzard, number 4. Gain 10% of damage as extra cold damage on freezing enemies. Create chilled ground. Ooh, kind of cool. I like that. Chilled ground is always nice. Again, do we have diminishing returns on things like chilled ground and curses and some of the other things that we've seen so far? If this is on a boss, don't know. Let's see. I am the Thunder, number 5. Gain 10% of damage as extra lightning damage, 25% chance on shocking enemies to create shocked ground. Again, same question as I have with this one, although not so much here, because I mean, if it's shocked on, if you're shocked on a boss, it's shocked, right? Unless they've got some other things that interact with the like chilled ground and shocked ground. I'm more interested in number 4 for that. Let's see. Going from I am the Thunder, we go into number 6, and I shall rage, giving us Unbound Avatar. Gain Unbound Fury by inflicting elemental ailments with hits on enemies. Once you reach your maximum Unbound Fury, consume it to become unbound for a duration, vastly augmenting your elemental prowess. It is wild how much that paragraph tells us nothing. Right? Like, if we hadn't seen this in EA, I would be asking what the hell this does. But we know what it does, and it's pretty cool. You just go ham, right? It's just it's the go ham button. That's what it is. Let's see. Number 7, the Soul Springs Eternal. Meta skills gain 35% more energy. I don't know what the hell that means at all. Can anybody tell me what that means? Because I don't know. Sunder my enemies. Critical hits ignore non-negative enemy monster elemental resistances. Oh my god. What? That's that. Bro, PoE 1 Templars are fucking crying that they don't have this right now. Crying that they don't have this right now. Because this means that if you can't get the monster negative, then it just goes to 0. But if you can get it negative, you're not being penalized for being able to do so. It's all upside. Okay. And then lastly, number 9. I do find it interesting how some of these, like we just went from an 11 to a 9, right? Kind of interesting there. It's surprising that we have different numbers of skills on different ascendancies. Then number 9, and scatter them to the wind. Grants you elemental expression, and you trigger this on melee critical hit. Creates a fire explosion, an arcing bolt of lightning, or an icy wave of projectiles. The chance for an explosion is proportional to your strength, for a bolt proportional to your dexterity, and for a wave proportional to your intelligence. Okay, so we get this skill. It triggers when we smack the crap out of things, and based on our stat spread is going to determine what projectiles we're going to be throwing out. Sure. I will say right now, Gemling Legionnaire is taking it for me, but I'm super interested in this. This here, what? Let us move on. 8 out of 12. Second Ranger Ascendancy. So this is essentially our Pathfinder. Let's see. Number 1, 50% more flash charges gained. We don't know how impactful this is going to be since we only have our life flask now. It really just depends. It depends on how much we're going to be spamming our life flask, right? Also, it's gonna be like do we still not gain charges on bosses, or how does that work? There's some, I've got some questions there, but I can see why this is good. Enduring elixirs, life last, so we get, okay, so we just get, okay, that makes sense. So we hit our life flask, and even if it's full, it doesn't stop, and it doesn't queue. Gotcha. Okay. So number 1 and number 2 are pretty straightforward. Let's move on to number 3, contagious contamination. The most damaging poison on enemies you kill is spread to other enemies within 1.5 meters. Interesting. So it always takes the strongest poison to proliferate. That's pretty nice. 1.5 meters does not sound like a lot of range. I'll need to get a grasp of our range measurements in this game compared to PoE 1. Because if you told me I had a 1.5 meter prolif in PoE 1, I'd look at you with a bit of side eye, like what are we doing here, you know? But you know, the ranges could be very much drastically different in PoE 2, so we'll have to see. Overwhelming toxicity, double the number of poisons you can inflict on enemies, 35% less poison duration. So sure, we're doing poison things. Got it. Number 5 is our brew concoction, where we can use our flasks to throw concoctions at enemies. We've got a poison that uses the mana flask, does chaos attack damage. Poison has more effect. Let's see. So all of them are based off of your mana flask, which is interesting. So you're not using your life flask for these. They do elemental damage, so chaos, lightning, cold, fire, and then actually you have physical as well for the bleeding. And then let's see, poison has a poison that has more effect. Lightning does lightning exposure, cold exposure, fire exposure. So exposure is just going to be reducing the enemy's elemental resistances. Let's see, consumes a charge to throw, dealing physical damage. Bleeding inflicted by this skill has more effect. Sure. So seems pretty straightforward there. It's really just going to depend on how much damage we're actually getting from that. Like, are there ways to support it, to increase it, things like that. Let's see. Grants 5 passive skill points. This is either completely and utterly useless or insane, depending on what those 5 points get you for your build. Let's see, 30% less movement speed penalty when using skills while moving, sure. And then you're unaffected by slows. So pretty condensed down ascendancy here. I mean, you can pretty much sum it up with this. If your life lasts are better, your poisons are better, you get concoctions, and you're not going to be hindered as much by movements and slows. That's pretty much the entire ascendancy. Sure. It does not seem very exciting to me. We'll have to see. If we can do some funky stuff with the concoctions, maybe this one would grow on me. But as I'm looking at it now, it doesn't really excite me enough for me to really want to give it much thought right now. I think that's a fair assessment. Number 9. All right. Number 1, Scouring Winds. Exposure you inflict lowers the affected resistance by an additional 20%. That's always good. So right off the bat, we're just doing more damage. Pretty nice. Number 2, grants you Elemental Storm, and you trigger this on critical hit with spells. Let's see, creates a stationary fire, cold, or lightning storm at the target location. Okay. All right, so you crit things and you get Elemental Storms. Pretty good. It's straightforward. We're doing more damage, but it's interesting because it triggers off your crit, which means you'll feel this getting better as you're progressing your character, as you get more crit, and as you start getting higher into that crit range, you're going to feel this happening more and more and more. Sure. Elemental Storm gets 150% cooldown recovery rate. Sure. If you're going to give me a thing, let me do it faster. I'm about that. Number 4, targets can be affected by 2 of your chills at the same time. Your chills can reduce action speed by up to a maximum of 35%, 25% less magnitude of chills you inflict. This is going to be another one of those things. I'm real curious to see how much effect this has on bosses, because that could be impressive if the numbers are there for how much, what the effectiveness is of this. Let's see. Number 5, we're increasing that even more. All damage from hits contributes to chill magnitude, which means you don't even like any skill, any hit from your elemental storm, no matter what element it chooses, is going to be increasing chill on enemies. Very nice. I like how that weaves in together. Let's see. Strike twice. Targets can be affected by 2 of your shocks. You get 50% less shock duration. Sure. Shaper of Storms. All damage contributes to shock. Once again, same thing with the chill magnitude. That's going to be great, especially with your elemental storm. No matter what it chooses, it's always going to be like you've always got that. You've always got that storm that can contribute to your chills or your shocks with this. Let's see. Number 8 is you have Arcane Surge. Arcane Surge grants 10% more cast speed and 20% more mana regeneration. Very boring trait to have, but a very useful trait to have. And I can, even not having played the game, I can extrapolate roughly that's going to be good. You know, it's not one of those things where like I need to get in the game and really see it first. It's generic. It's good. It does its job. 1% increased effect of Arcane Surge on you per, I can't see, something maximum mana. Sure. Oh wait, hold on. I can see it. Is it 1% per 15 maximum mana? Interesting. Okay. I wonder how high you can get your mana on this class. Because if you could get, say, like 1500 mana, then all of a sudden, that's 20% more cast speed. That starts to feel, I bet that starts to feel real nice. But then again, we don't really have much mana, anything, like, imagine if we had Constant Gale and this, imagine if we had number 8 and number 9 over on that Chayula tree we saw. Ooh, buddy, that could have been insane. But alas, we don't. And then number 10, 40% of elemental damage taken recouped as energy shield. Sure. That's, I mean, technically the chill is a damage, is a defensive trait. So, you know, we're not going to knock it. It's not a very defensive tree though. This is very much, we're doing the elemental damage, period. Let's go. Get in here. Sure. Number 10, our first Giga Chad. Let's go. What do we got? Number 1, Stone Skin, 50% more armor from equipped body armor. Sure. Earthbreaker, 20% chance for your slam skills you use yourself to cause aftershocks. Very interesting. Interesting. I like how we've got this over here. Could we have this for all of them? This would be lovely. I don't think we had that for the rest of them, did we? No. This is, I really, can we get this? This is beautiful. Aftershocks are bursts of area damage that occur after the initial impact of the skill causing them. If not otherwise specified, the aftershock will deal the same damage as the initial impact in the same area. So, 20% chance to deal double damage. We stand this. This is big unga bunga. This is. Look here. If you're a warrior fan, or like I love that type of like feel or gameplay, I bet you're standing this right now. It's just 20% chance to go ham. We like this. Number 3, Ancestral Empowerment. Every second slam skill you use yourself is ancestrally boosted. An ancestrally boosted skill has 20% more damage and area of effect. I'm assuming this stacks with Aftershock, which means that you could get a doubled up 20% more damage and area slam, which would be real nice, real chunky, I bet. Colossal Capacity. Bro, what are we doing? Please give me this on everything. Carry a chest which adds 20 inventory slots. What? Did we not learn how impact, like, I still want my pouch back. Okay, I still want my fanny pack back in PoE 1. This does absolutely nothing, but I want it. I'm so mad this is just anyway. Hulking Form, 50% increased effect of small passive nodes. Holy. This could be like, don't sleep on this is all I can say, depending on like what the small nodes are, because this affects your entire tree, which is fucking insane, is it not? Number 6, your hits are crushing blows. Crushing blows cause a heavy stun on enemies that are primed for a stun. Sure, stuns, whatever. Number 7, surprising strength, 40% more damage against heavy stunned enemies. depending on how often we can get those characters or these enemies primed and stunned, is going to determine how impactful and how chunky this feels for you. And then 15% more maximum life. That is very, I mean, sure. I mean, we've got armor and we've got life, so we've got some defensiveness here, but like this just seems boring to me. I mean, this is also boring to be fair, but I mean, sure. I mean, it's in line with the character, so that's fine. All right, here we go. The Jade Boy. Can you impress me? Anvil's weight. Break armor equal to 10% of hit damage dealt. All right. You can break enemy armor below 0. Okay. All right. So we're going to be smacking, we're going to be hitting things. When we hit these things, their armor is going to be reduced. And we can take them into negative armor, like we can take things into negative resistances, which is kind of wild. Yes, please. Number 3, Jade Heritage. Encase you in Jade, gain a stack of Jade every second. Consume all stacks of Jade to grant a buff for a duration. Hold on, we're going to have to do it like this. Consumes all stacks of Jade to grant a buff for a duration that absorbs all damage from hits up to a maximum based on the amount of Jade consumed. While encased, you cannot move or perform actions. What? Sure. So it's like an oh shit button. Okay. I mean, I don't dislike that. Sure. It's a thing that you're going to have to use yourself. So that's fine by me. Yeah, sure. If you're good with it, you're good with it. If not, you're probably into yourself. I'm not upset with that at all. Answered Call grants you ancestral spirits. You trigger these when you summon a totem. Each of your totems will summon a spirit minion to fight for you. If the totem summon the minion dies, then the totem will die too. Sure. Let's see. Wooden Wall. 20% of damage from hits is taken from your nearest totem's life before you. Simple, clean, defensive. We don't mind that. And it works with your number 4, giving you the totems and the spirit totem. Okay. Sure. It's not, again, defensives are not very interesting typically for the most part, but at least this has some play with your guys. Like you've got to keep you actually have a reason to keep your totems up, more than just to do more damage. Let's see. Renly's Training gains 40% base chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value. Sure. Interesting. We'll have to see what the shields look like. If anybody's going to play this, I don't know. Turtle Charm, 35% less block chance, can block damage from all hits while shield is not raised. Sure. So we're just blocking. We don't have to raise the shield to block. Sure. Let's see. Warcaller's Bellow. Corpses in your presence explode when you war cry. We have this already in another game, and like having to trigger your corpse explodes with a button press feels not great. We'll see. I am questionable about this whole Warcry package right here. This is either going to feel great or going to feel like complete trash. All right. And finally, we're ending with the second Mercenary Ascendancy. Number 1, Weapon Master. 20 passive skill points become weapon set skill points. I don't understand the full implications of this. I know what it's telling me, but there's still some questions that I would have to toy around with the tree. Like honestly, like after like 1 or 2 minutes of toying with the tree, I would be able to pass much better judgment on this Ascendancy. Number 2, straightforward, Culling Strike. It's good. Let's see, Culling Strike kills normal monsters at a number. It's normal monsters, who cares? Magic enemies are instead killed at 20%, rares at 10, uniques at 5. Interesting. So it's not just a 10% baseline cull anymore. It's based off of rarity of the enemy. And uniques, you're only going to get a 5% cull, which is just a 50% nerf to Culling Strike going from PoE 1 to PoE 2 in pretty much any of the cases that you actually care about it. Okay. Yeah. But taking Culling Strike leads you into Judge, Jury, and Executioner, which gives you Decimating Strike. Decimating Strike hits against full enemies, remove between 5 and 30% of their life. If this applies to bosses, holy shit. That's such a potentially good Ascendancy. Just instantly nuking 30% of a boss's life is insane. If this does not apply to bosses, who cares? Number 4, Witchbane. Enemies have maximum concentration equal to 40% of their maximum life. Break enemy concentration on hit equal to 100% of damage dealt. Enemies regain 10% of concentration every second if they haven't lost concentration in the past 5 seconds. Gonna need a little bit of more information on concentration, so let's read that. Enemies have less cooldown recovery rate that lower their concentration, scaling down to 50% less cooldown recovery rate with concentration of 0. Again, if this works on bosses, it's insane. Just reducing, if you're reducing boss skill cooldowns by 50%, that's such a strong way. That's just a very strong defense right there. Because if they're on cooldown, they're not casting, right? And if they're not casting, they're just auto attacking, and they're way less dangerous. I've got some questions here for sure. Let's see. No Mercy. Deal up to 30% more damage to enemies based on their missing concentration. Windows update, stop. I will snooze you later. Deal up to 30% more damage based on their missing concentration. All right, so 4 and 5 working in tandem. Yeah, I mean, this just sounds good. It's just, if this works, we're getting our defensive, and then we're getting damage built in with our defensive, which is pretty nice. Also, 30% more damage. Is that not, like, does this not just have like some of the highest damage numbers we've seen? Like, just instantly deal up to 30% of something's life the moment you touch it, and then deal 30% more damage to something based on its content. Like, that sounds so good. Let's see. Obsessive Rituals gives you Sorcery Reward. Sorcery Reward gives you 50% less armor and 50% less evasion. However, it passively manifests a Protective Barrier, which takes elemental damage from hits for you until depleted, and then it will recharge after a short time. 50% less armor and evasion. That is a lot. Like, that's half of your defenses for armor and evasion just gone to get this ward. This, I feel like this is, I don't know. Let me read number 7 real quick. 50% increase effective sorcery ward acquisition factor. Sure. So we're just leaning into the sorcery ward more. This feels very specific and not like, I don't know if this is something that you would want on every build, you know? It feels very specific, but in the instances where you do want it, it seems very, very powerful, right? Because there is a downside to this that you have to consider, which is why I don't know if I would want to take this just as a generic, I'm just always taking this. 50% less armor and evasion could be massive. I don't know if that's the case yet. If it's not, then this is an insta take every time. And then lastly, 10% chance for enemies you kill to explode, dealing 100% of their maximum minus of physical damage. Chances double to dance damage against undead and demons. Boom Boom is good. That's all there is to say about that. Anyway, that is all 12 of the Ascendancies that have been released for Path of Exile 2 so far. Some of them just did not do it for me reading them. Maybe once I get my hands on them, I will like them more. I'm so damned hype for the Gemling Legionnaire. Just, it is what it is. Like, if I had to rank my hypeness right now, I'm not, like, I don't care about any of the warrior stuff. And maybe a 4, maybe that's my 4th. This is probably, you know, this is number 2 for me still. This like this evasion physical DR thing, and then like yeah, that's a strong 2 for me. This is a very strong 3 for me, and then this is number 1. So 1, 3, 2, 4, I think is where I'm at right now. So fellow mercenaries, fellow Gemling Legionnaires, I look forward to seeing you on the battlefield. You know, we are Legion, we are one, and I'm ItsAdiar. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.